Okay, here we go. Hey everybody, welcome to the webinar. You can see the office in the background. You're probably going to see people walking past. That's, because life continues even when we're doing a webinar. Great to see people here from all over the world. We have Australia, we've got India, we've Russia, the UK. And it's, really good to have everybody here. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you what is new in Nucoda and Phoenix 2019.2. We're not going to make it very long. I understand everybody's got work to do and got work to get back to. This is something that we're going to be doing on a regular basis. And it's also something that, if you guys have got any particular questions that, things that you'd like to see how things are done or anything like that, very simple to set up and to get you guys going. I hope everybody can hear me. Hi, Jane, thanks for joining us from the US. Yeah, I hope everybody can hear me. And let's get going. So I'm going to share Nucoda with you guys. So I hope you can all see this. So this is 2019.2. We'll start from the front and just have a quick look at what's new in this version. So one of the main, we've made a few little changes inside the monitoring menu. We've cleaned things up, just made things a little bit neater because, you need to have to, you need to do that kind of stuff. The other thing, yeah.
Can I jump in?
Yeah.
It was just for you guys. If any of you guys have any questions about anything that Pat's showing, in the center of your screen on the Zoho, you've got questions and a chat feature that you all can participate in. And if there are any relevant questions that come up, we can get them answered. And hopefully, you benefit from this, this webinar. So I'll leave that now. And, sorry, Pat, you crack on.
Yeah, don't let that happen again. All right, so here we go. So on the front screen, you'll see that the one thing that we've done is we've removed the word CMS. It still does exist inside Nucoda. It stood originally for color management system. We just thought, with new people and people using other systems, people understand what the LUT is. So what we've done is we've just changed that to LUT. When you switch to apply a LUT, you can now either browse to where your LUT is, or you can go and actually just choose from the custom menu. Apologies. We thought this made things a little bit easier. So if you go and set a custom LUT as well, you can clearly see here what the LUT is. It just makes things simpler. So the next thing that we've done is, the fact is that we can apply that LUT. So if we can go and select one, we can now do the apply LUT, in other words, burning in that LUT for the master output format as well. It's not a big change, but it is something that people have asked for to be able to do. You'll see inside the application as well where we've changed the GUI slightly. The other important thing here is this little function here called tetrahedral LUT interpolation. Essentially, tetrahedral is should allow us to do to interpolate the LUTs that we use in a different way. Very often you won't see a very big difference. It will depend on the LUT. But you will also, sorry, I just got a question in. There's a different way that the LUTs get interpreted. You won't always see the difference. We've seen differences mainly where in fairly low density LUTs where there's a kind of skies or any kind of dithering, the tetrahedral input does make a little bit of a difference with that. So I'm going to go into a project. The material was very gracefully supplied by Sebastian at Terrasson and the guys at Renault. And I just thought I'll show you here inside your color management. We now have one effect called LUT. There's no more CMS path or CMS. So if I use the LUT and apply that, you'll see that I have my LUT path that comes up, or I can browse to my LUT. So that's no longer two separate things. The interpolation I can set on a per effect basis to be trilinear, which is the normal, tetrahedral, or as per project. So if I set my project to tetrahedral, then this will do that automatically. Right, that's a bit skipping ahead a bit. So looking at something else, we've changed our licensing system to allow users to be able to do floating licenses and actually to use dongles as well, if that's something that they prefer. This won't really affect you. You'll see that the licenses will look slightly different, but it's not going to affect you. The nice thing about this licensing system is the fact that when we release 2019-3, or indeed the first release of next year, that license will automatically work with this release of the software. So from this release forward, as long as you have a newer license, you'll be able to open anything up to this release, which is really good. Right. I thought we could have a quick look at what we've done on the scope side. We did this for the last release, but a lot of people might not know about this. So the first thing I'm going to do is just show you the setup menu. So I'm going to turn on the scopes, and I'm going to click on the setup menu over here. Now, the setup menu allows us to do quite a few things. So we now have the option to customize our scopes. So I can go and move a scope to where I want to do that. So what I might do actually is discard that. I'm going to make a new preset called web. And I'm going to position one scope over here. And then I'm going to create a new scope. And change that to possibly be vector scope. And then I'm going to select the top one, control select the bottom one, and I'm going to fit the scopes so that this one now has the same height as the other one. I can also align them using this way, or I can just go and move them over there. And then for my vector scope, I now have the option as well to do a 500% zoom and change the color of the graticule. So this is quite good. This remains live, so I can actually just see what is happening in the background. And as always, we still have the option to go and zoom into an area on the scope or on the screen, and clicking in the middle of that will just reset that. I still have the reset button down here, but this is a great way to be able to work. Back to setup. the fact is that scopes can be quite resource heavy. So we've got an option to hide the scopes during playback. So that means we'll just, this will happen on your SDI for some reason. It's not turning them on. That's a bit odd. Okay, well, I guess that's something I just have to double check. Oh, there we go. So as soon as I stop, scopes come back. As soon as I play, we can use all the resources. You'll notice that the new presets appear immediately inside the list. So it's not, I don't have to exit and go back. I can do the same thing now for grids and masks. So if I want to set up a particular mask, I can just type in over here that I would like the mask to be, I can give it a name. And if I go 259, not that that's really a valid mask, it will actually go and create that mask for us. And it will immediately appear. We can once again go and delete that mask as well. The same goes for our grids. And something that we've added to our viewer is the ability to change the opacity for the mask, which is something we'll look at later again. But if I go and set a mask to maybe 239, you can see I can change the opacity of the screen, and that helps when I am doing pan and scan, if I want to do that. Now, the one question that I got is about a delay between the SDI output from the Archer card and the monitor. And one of the new things in setup for 2019-2 is the moving of the monitoring and video I/O we've put into the configuration here now. So this means a few things. Number one, it means that your video settings are now saved per project. So if you've got a particular setup, say for a Dolby project, having 12-bit or whatever, that'll get saved with the project. It also means that you can go and change these settings live and actually see what happens on your screen. And in answer to the question, we now have a little button down here called Sync DVI and SDI. And that should probably within a frame allow your monitor output here and your SDI output to be synced. And it is for the people that do work like that, it's actually quite nice to be able to do that. So another new viewer tool that we've added, if we go to somewhere, something interesting, is this little hourglass down here. If we click on that, we will now be able to, once we're on the monitor, if you click and hold the left mouse button, you can go and look at a quick zoom in of an area, and using the mouse will zoom in a little bit more so that you can see exactly what is going on. The shortcut buttons for your red, green, and blue is active in this time, so you can very easily go and see what is going on. Right, so sticking to the setup here, we've added with the if I turn on the scopes and I go to the CIE chart, what we've done is we can now set for example, let's say we're monitoring in a P3 color space. So we've got our monitor set to P3. But I would like to, let's change that to 709. So that's my monitoring. Over here, I can select the regions, which are these triangles that you see inside the P3 box. So you can see how those will change. It just sets what I'm looking at. Now, in the viewer, I can go and say, right, I would like my safe color space to be 709. And I can then choose whether I want red, off, or heat map. So if I choose heat map and I try and see if I can generate something that is truly. So this is actually showing us here. You can see by the way these pixels look. I'm going to try just get that a little bit more uniform to get to a point where we maybe have I had a good example earlier. But what this will do is it will simply show you a zebra outline. You can see here. That'll just show you and indicate that you have areas that are out of gamut. So this is a bit trickier than what I thought to actually get something to indicate it. But you can see here, we have individual pixels here that are, according to our measurement tool, is out of gamut. So this is still new. It is, you know, it might be refined a little bit. We have a setting for safe color tolerances, so you can go and set how tolerant the tool should be to values. 0 being the default value, but it's an indicator more than anything else, and it's not going to obviously render out or anything like that. A few things that we've changed on the timeline. We've made a few changes to the way that hotkeys work. For those of you who have not seen this before, we've introduced the idea of double hotkeys. And this is mainly because, you know, you kind of start running out of keys after a little while. So if you right click, you'll see we've got, for example, to toggle a scene cut. So if we go and add a scene cut here, so single press C will add a scene cut. You can see it's got little blue marks. Now, if I want to toggle that cut, what I need to do is hold down Alt, and then I need to press C for cut and S for scene. So hold down Alt, CS. That'll do that for you. We've also changed the way that we work with the segment mode and with cut mode, and we are now able to pretty much always be in segment mode if you want to be. We know that there are people who particularly ask for this. It's easy to just move a clip around. What you can now do is, even in segment mode, you can go and add scene cuts or normal cuts. You could also delete those as you could before. And the biggest change here is, for those of you that are used to holding down C to make a duplicate, it's now D. So if you want to duplicate a clip, hold down D and you can duplicate it like that instead of using C. This also means, however, that Control C and Control V should now, nice. I'm going to just relaunch that. Sure, nobody's seen that before. So let me get this out.
So Pat, while you're just sorting that out, there's a question just came in about, is it possible to customize color space like P3, D65 or D60?
Here we go. Sorry, let me just get this. Let me just get this. Let me just share this with you guys. Oh, there we go. Yeah, it's a question from Andre. It depends. Are you talking about in the scopes or in general? So we can. There's no way to set a particular working color space in Nucoda. The only working color spaces that we have would be ACES CC or ACES CCT. So those would be color spaces that are actually that you're actually working in. We can use obviously the color convert tool to convert clips to whatever color space you wish, and that includes changing the illumination as well. So if we go to color convert here, we can change this from Alexa White Gamut to 709 or whatever else we want to. And in this case here, we can change the illuminant. So we can say we want to move to D60 or D65 or whatever we want to do. So I don't know if that answers your question. If you want to write something a bit more specific, then custom color spaces in scopes. Yeah, thanks, Andre. So we have a setting for 601, P3, 2020, and 709. I can check if there's a way to do a custom one. If there's a particular one that you'd want, that's something we can look at. I'm not sure that the illuminant is going to make a difference. This is mainly about the primaries. So I think as long as we have the ones that we require, I do believe we can actually put anything in here that is in the color convert tool. So Alexa, we can probably put pretty much any color space in there that we want to. We have another quick question, and then I'll move on to the next changes. This is from Venki. This is just regarding the clear cache button. That's been moved. It's still available, but it's over here now, so in the caches tab. And so we have a cleanup button here, and we've got more options for cleanup. So, over here we've got the usual marked region, marked frame, but we could also choose all, or we can choose particular layers or layer types now as well. But this is where the cleanup button's gone. So we've not removed it. We've just put it somewhere with all the other cache tools. And you'll be glad to know that there's now a progress bar as well when we do cleanups. So next thing, just a quick mention: we've added support for the Coda 5 card. At the moment, just still just normal 4K, not multiple streams yet. That's something that we'll be working on. But 12G should be working. All that kind of stuff should be just fine. We've looked at the monitoring. We've added support for the latest Sony Venice formats, which is I think it's only about 4 weeks old, but we will support all of the raw formats in the Sony in the new Sony release. We've added an option in our preferences as well now. Some people have asked for this, so that you could set the amount of frames that you want to use for padding as a default. It's just, you know, like I said, something that a few people have actually asked for as well. And we've made one change to lift gamma gain, which is even in half mode, it used to clip between layers, but it does no longer do that either. So something which is quite big and new, although it seems rather small, is a change that we've made to pan and scan. And this will affect, I think, mainly, you know, people who do multiple different types of deliveries. Also people who do lots of panning and scanning, especially something like restoration. And what I'm going to show you here is, so what we have here is a 4096 by 3112 image. Now, this would be the way or the size that it has been restored in. And what I have done is, or what I need to do here is I'm going to actually just reset these two. Now, you can see that there's a slight shift between the two. So what I need to do is I need to just make this full screen, and then I need to go and change the shift between, you know, between these two frames. So when I go to my pan and scan, previously what I would have done is to use my pan and tilt over here to do the transform. The issue that I would have had would be that when I move to a different aspect ratio, this would actually change. And so you would be in a position where when you changed formats and aspect ratios, it wouldn't correctly maintain the position of the shot. The other thing that we have is, obviously, we want to add blanking, a particular you know, size blanking. In this case, I have a deliverable at 185. So I would go and add 185, and I would then go and set my top and my bottom blanking for this. So let's do this. First thing I'm going to do is to show you, I'm going to just add a scale to this for both of these frames of 1.5 so that we can see them in the border. And then what I'm going to do is go to a new setting that we have in the bottom right-hand side here called source transform. Now, the source transform is available on the tangents. It's available on the precision. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this to be so that that little white flower there is on the side. And I'm going to do the same for this one here. So that when I step between the two now, this is a very old film, so it's slightly warped, but you can see it's lined them up. So that's the first thing. So I've done my source pan, or I've done my pan in the source, and you'll find this in all the pan and scans. Now what I'm going to do is I want to reposition this for my 185 master. So I'm going to use my tilt, and I want to frame it just so that her head is right at the top there. You can see, because I've got the see-through option on my mask, it's very easy to see what I've used or what I have available. So I want to do that there, and on this one I'm going to do the same. So I've now got my two shots lined up the way that I want to. Now, because these were now done in the source transform, in other words, it's done separately from the aspect ratio conversion. When I set this aspect to auto crop, which is what I want to do for my other outputs, if I now switch to my 1998 by 1080, you'll see that this is still in exactly the same place for both images. And if I switch to 1920 by 1080, I have the same thing as well. So it doesn't matter when I switch between my output formats. what will happen is I might get slightly more headroom or less, but the scaling remains the same. Now, the other important thing here is this is my main output format, so I've got no bars. It's 1998 by 1080, so it's a 185 fit. Now, I also want to do an HD version. And what I can do now is select all the clips in my timeline and set the aspect to what I want. So in this case, 16 by 9. And what I'm going to do, sorry, that's not 16 by 9. Apologies. I set this to 185. So my 185 image looks the way it normally should. And when I go to 1920, you'll see that it adds the bars automatically at the top and at the bottom. And it doesn't matter what resolution I go to, we will now automatically scale the masks so the aspect is correct. So you don't have to put different values in the top and the right blanking, in the top and the bottom blanking. When you're doing multiple output formats, all you need to do is to switch to your master and to your 1920, and we will automatically do the right thing with the masking. So this is quite a big change for some people. Is the availability of the source pan and source tilt options. I'm just having a quick look through here, and there's one other thing that I want to show you before I just want to see what time it is. And that is something that was added in the last version, but I've had a few questions about this, about how to use this function, and I thought I'd show you. So if we look at this, let's maybe look at this at the last clip here. So this clip has got a retime on it. I'm going to play it back. Now, you probably won't be able to see this, but there is a very slight judder, or not a judder, but a slight steppiness to the, let's turn off. There's a very slight steppiness to the clip. Now, this is using our normal standard retime. In the last version, we introduced speed source. Now, in this version, we'll remove the beta tag. What speed source really is we've taken our twister tool and created a slow-mo plugin. So I'm going to apply that as well and just give you a basic idea of how it works. So this retime is set to 130.15. I'm going to remove that. And I'm going to make this 1.315. It is automatically motion compensated, so it'll try and do a better job. So it's not interpolated or nearest, which are still options. So all that we're going to do here is just the basic speed transform. And if we weren't on a webinar, you'll be able to see that the playback or the transition here is very, very, very smooth now. You don't get those little judders that you would on the normal retime. Now the plan is for this to give you the option to use this as a standard retime. It is available to all Nucoda users. Even though it is a DVO, it is available to everyone. And this is what I would call a creative retime. It's something that you would use to do a retime, to play around with and do different things. We have another version of this, which we are planning to use as a conform retime. In other words, every frame will have a value. So if you come in with a retime from an Avid, for example, we will be able to match that exactly. So you don't have to worry about your transitions and stuff. Now, the other thing I wanted to show you with this transform is, yeah, so Simon, yeah, that's the plan. Now, what we're going to do, what I want to show you now is just how to use this if you want to do a source retime. In other words, it's something that you want to speed it up and slow it down. The tricky thing with doing this type of retimes is, when you are adding keyframes, you are making the material longer and shorter. So what we're going to do is I'm going to set the output to source. So the play output is set to source. And this means that regardless of what I do in my speed tool, I'm always looking at the original frames. So what I might do is add a keyframe here with a frame at 1. And then I'm going to say, right, I've got this marker over here, this pole. At the point that I reach that, let's maybe go from here. I'm going to set another keyframe and actually make that slightly faster. By the time we get to the pole, I'd like that to be 1.5. And by the time we pass there, I would like that to come back down to 800. That's fine. What happens now is when I switch back to output, it will do the correct calculations. So I use the source to specify where I want things to happen, and I use output to view it. So in this case, I should go up to here, speed up. I think I need a little bit more speed there, and slow down. So let's just go back to this point here. That was a bit much, maybe 2 and 1.5. So you can see the render speed is actually is really good as well. And this is using motion compensate. So this is using DVO twister to do the timeline. So if we try that again, we should be speeding up and then slowing back down again. So this is really the way that we can do this. You can have different ways of doing the acceleration value. If we set it to frames, for example, it will try and do the change on the actual keyframe. Otherwise, it will basically just do an S curve. You don't have a very manual way of changing that. Let's have a look. Sorry, I have another question here. So the idea would be to be able to do. Sorry, Shane, I think you might have mistyped there. Just have a look at the question. We have another one. Is the DVO speed source GPU or CPU based? As with the DVOs, they're all CPU based. So it's going to be exactly the same as Twister. There you can see what happens when it's set to frames. So the changes happen pretty much on the frame there, and there, and slow down. It's actually a very, very nice slow-mo. It does a very good job of doing this. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. Sorry, thank you, Shane. Yeah, so the plan is that so we can already import time warps, avid time warps from the AAF. Sorry, just the keyframe values come in as markers. But the plan is, yes, to actually map on a frame-by-frame basis, map the actual speed from the AAF to this, so that you'll be able to get the exact same values or the same curve as what you get in the Avid. So that is the plan with this, yes. Right, those are the main new things. Actually, one last thing for our restoration users mainly, I think, is we had quite a few people ask that when they use matte paint, they always, for example, use a rectangle with a specific softness when they do the restoration work. What we'll do now is, we can't quite make this a preset just because of the way that things work. But what we'll do is we will remember this. So if you set this to that size and you go to another tool, you'll get the same setting. If you use something like restore and you go to fix and you add that, it will remember that setting. And it'll just remember the last setting that you used, which is quite handy. We have also made a little bit of improvement to file formats. 4K XAVC files should play back real time now, as well as much better support for Avid generated XAVC and AVCI files. There's some more work that we're busy doing on the file format side, and we will be supporting Blackmagic Raw as well. That will be forthcoming in a future update. Right, so that's those are the main things for 2019 too. There's been a little bit more work to keep up with the Dolby standards. So that's something that's taken off quite a lot is HDR and Dolby. So there's, I don't know, I think there's quite a few of you who actually do that. Right, we have a question from Andrew. Andrew, we've added FFV1 support now. FFV1 is mainly for the archive guys out there. We have the way that we've implemented it is in the Matroshka wrapper. It's something that we need to discuss. We were asked to implement FFV1, and we've done a very complete implementation. And but there are not too many tools that can play it back. Yeah, we have done that. We've also done V210, also under the request of some archive users. So for those of you who don't know, FFV1 is a lossless compression that some archives are starting to use. They use the Matroshka wrapper for that, so it's all based on FFmpeg. It's completely open. So we've added support for that, but because it's lossless, it's actually quite big. But it's mainly for interest to or for interest of the archives. We have a question about mid-tone details. This is something that one of the other color correctors have, which quite a few people like to use, and it's something that we're looking at how it works, how to replicate that. It is quite a nice feature, and yeah, it's something that we're definitely looking at to support. Just something to mention. I know this is. I just thought I would show you, possibly just to get something up here. We have made some changes to our to the deform tracker. I know it's a favorite topic of discussion, but what we've done is we have sped it up quite a bit, so you can actually get pretty good and fast results using the deform tracker. There will be other improvements as well coming for the deform tracker. It is the tracks are something that we are currently that we are always working on. Just thought I would show you, just give you an idea of the improvement, and this is also in the same improvement is in 4K as well. So it does make quite a big difference already. Right, so let's see if there's any other questions. There's been quite a few, and it doesn't look like it. So yeah, so so that's the overview of 2019-2. I hope that you guys have enjoyed it, and as always, thank you for using Nucoda. We really enjoy working with everybody, and trying to make things better and keep things interesting. And what we will do is, if you have any questions for particular things that you want to have a look at, please let us know. Just so you know, our focus for the next release is a lot more GPU functionality, as well as some conform stuff, which I'm sure everybody will be more than happy with. So right, so I'm going to sign off. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll speak to you soon. Keep your eyes open for the next webinar. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.